Hey, what's up, everyone? You're watching The Hot Seat. I'm your girl, Dante, and we are here with a special guest, my friend Ayzia James. She is a social media influencer and blogger. Her blog is called A La Mode, and she inspires me so much. The way I got into influencing and blogging myself was because of her. She put me onto all of the shoots, she gave me ideas, and she told me to be consistent. And I don't think I would have the discipline or the creative mind if it wasn't for her. So everyone, I want to introduce you to my big sis, Ayzia. Ayz, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Of course, you're inspiring. Why would I not have you here in the hot seat?
It's such an honor.
Yes, so I want to start off first with where are you from? Of course, I know you, but I want everyone else to get to know you. So, where are you from, and like your nationality as well as your town?
Sure. So I'm actually an immigrant, which is a fun fact. No one really knows that about me, but I'm from Canada originally. My mom's Canadian, Caribbean Canadian, and my dad is English. And we moved to the States when I was about 3 years old. So I've gone through all my schooling and stuff here, but I'm Canadian by nationality. And so my mom is Black. She's Caribbean. She's from Antigua originally, and my dad is white. He's like 100% English. So
Wow, I love that combo. Okay. Do you feel that your town or where you grew up or how you grew up has played a part on who you are today?
yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's funny that you asked this because I feel like I'm kind of like a Franklin ambassador. If you is listening, I will tell anybody who wants to listen to me how amazing my experience at Franklin was and really how much it did shape me. I actually was lucky enough, as you know, for the blog, I partner with a lot of local businesses. And I was lucky enough to partner with a woman who lives in Franklin and has two young children. And is kind of between sending them to charter school or to Franklin public schools. And so I laid it on her thick. I told her how amazing the experience was, how diverse it was, how great all the magnet programs and the sports really were and influenced me. And knowing people from different backgrounds really prepared me to go to college. When I went to college, I feel like I met people who were kind of stunted, who had never even met a Black person. Um, so Franklin really was leaps and bounds ahead of anyone else that I know.
Yeah, I love that response because, of course, I am a fellow Franklin warrior, and it's just amazing. The most diverse place you could probably grow up in.
Yeah.
And like you said, you have a blog. Many people, I hope you guys do know, because she has an amazing community and following, A La Mode. Can you tell me about A La Mode and what was the goal behind creating your blog?
Yeah, so I started the Ayzia mode actually 3 years ago next week. So I know time flies, but it really started very organically. If you go back to my first blog post, if you go on my website and go all the way back, it actually was about different foundations for women of color. And it really started organically because these were the kinds of questions I was getting, from women I knew personally or friends of friends. Everyone would ask me, where do I find the right foundation for my skin tone? And so I was able to kind of just put those things that I was already talking about with people onto my website, and it kind of just grew from there super organically. Clothing for women with curves or curly hair products, the kinds of things that really the marketplace is not made for someone that looks like us. So, really having those conversations and finding the products that are right for us.
Yes. And it's funny that you say that as well because honestly, A's, I don't know many biracial bloggers, and you have a lot of success being a biracial blogger. Have you come across any type of challenges or maybe any like setbacks being a woman of color in the blogging world?
I think that because I kind of took it on as my niche, I kind of came out there as, this is my background, this is my hair texture, these are the challenges I face as a biracial woman. I naturally always attracted people who could either relate or were looking to me to be a voice for their brand because they didn't have anyone else like me, that could really speak for them. So in the blogging world, I haven't really, because I really put it out there that this is who I am. And so if they didn't like it, they probably never followed or never worked with me. So I kind of created my own space in that way by making it my niche. But for sure, in other areas of my life, in college or in interning or, working in New York City, there definitely have been times where I've been the only person of color in the room. So in blogging, not really, but, in other parts of my life for sure.
Yeah. And within the blogging world, again, I feel like now there's so much more diversity, and you definitely stand out. You speak up. You are authentically you on your blog, and I love that. And you carry that in on your blog posts, within your fashion, within the beauty tips that you want to share. What do you feel sets you apart from other bloggers? Because a lot of bloggers are authentically them, but there's something about you, Ayz, that I just love your page. I love your day-to-day posts, honestly.
Thank you. I think for me, it's really, I just do what I want. And I think I
Yes.
have that freedom because blogging is also like blogging is my 5 to 9, not my 9 to 5. So I think that really allows me the ability to only take the partnerships that are meaningful to me, to only work with the bloggers that I have the time for. I don't got all day to do this. So I really am able to specially curate and think about, the meaningful partnerships that I want to partake in.
Yes, and speaking of you curating, you are such a creative director. She has come up with such amazing ideas for photo shoots, for just gatherings, even her own influencer brunch she had back, I think, in 2000, it was 2020 actually, last year. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. How do you stay so disciplined, because this is your 5 to 9? How do you stay disciplined and consistent?
Yeah, it's a lot of note taking, a lot of jotting down ideas, when I'm like falling asleep or, maybe when I'm commuting, and just taking those ideas and then kind of expanding on them. But again, I think it also circles back to the whole partnering with people that are meaningful to me. And it kind of comes from there. I partnered with Bree, as you know, for that photo shoot, really looking for other women of color in these spaces, event planners, photographers, stylists, and we can kind of work together to make my vision come true.
Yes, you're all about community, and that's one thing you have taught me and that I look up to you about, is that always to network across, to always lean on your sisters or people who work in the same field as you, because like I said in my intro, guys, Ayzia pulled me into my little influencing, and I learned everything from her within these ropes. So you have your own blog and you have, a bunch of things that you love, but what are your swear by products that are Black owned within beauty and, I would say, clothing?
Yeah. So I'm really lucky, now that I've gotten to work in this space, I've also gotten to know some of these designers. So off the top of my head, my absolute favorite is my friend Salone Monet. I'm sure you've seen me
Yes.
post her shoes. She makes nude inclusive shoes, heels. Beyonce's worn them. Kiki Palmer has worn them. They are just absolutely gorgeous. Finding a nude shoe is so difficult. I think especially when you're darker skinned. I actually just got a pair for my mom, so
I
you should
love
look too.
that.
But yeah, they're beautiful. So I love her shoes. I wear a lot of Hanifa. I'm sure you're familiar with them
Yes.
too. The great thing about their stuff is it's really made for women with curves. So often I'm like having to take things in at the waist or,
Same.
expand it, yeah, at the hips. So her stuff is made for our body types, which I think is super important. And then in terms of beauty, of course, I love Rihanna's. I'm wearing like Rihanna makeup right now. But on a
Fenty.
smaller scale, I love Lip Bar. I don't know if you've ever worked with them, but they are sold at Target. They're amazing.
Wow, thank you for that. I'm going to check out Lip Bar. I've actually never heard of them, so thank you for putting me onto
Yeah.
that. Aze, you also carry so much confidence. You just literally light up a room. What would you say to viewers who want to start being an influencer or just want to start off anything, being an entrepreneur, and are lacking confidence?
I feel like, it's easier said than done, but you have to just give it a try. I was thinking about starting a blog for years before I actually started it. And if I had just started it when I first thought about it, imagine where I could be now? So I think that's really the way you have to think about things. Like if you never jump in and just start, then you're never going to do it. You have to just take that risk and, like we've been saying, find a community, find people who can help you, give you advice, align with your goals, and really propel you forward.
Yes, what a powerful response. That's my friend, y'all. You see, she's dropping gems for everybody. We see a lot of representation. I would say it's coming in within the fashion industry, the makeup industry. What would you like to see more of from fashion lines or magazine editorials?
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's all very recent.
It
When
is.
I started this 3 years ago, like I said, no one knew where to even find the foundation.
Right.
And I think that we have really, Black Twitter especially, but we as a community have really demanded from these companies that we need to be represented. And so I think we need to just continue that demand. Even this Sephora's participating in that movement to have 15% of their shelves taken up by Black brands. Those kind of things, we have to continue to demand it. Otherwise, it's never going to expand. They're perfectly happy having us at the level we're at right now. It's up to us to continue to say we have a voice, we have purchasing power, we have cultural power, and we want to be represented in these products. So I think it's up to
Yes.
us. We just have to keep pushing.
Yes, and you spoke out like this during the Black Lives Movement, and I was just so, again, inspired. Did you feel that your audience was supportive of that, or did you see some sway in numbers or things like that that kind of made you feel, oof?
Yeah, for sure. um, Both ways, though, right? For every follower I lost, I gained two, three. Um, so now my audience, I think, is probably a lot more aligned with my beliefs and my values, which was something I probably needed to do anyway. And this kind of forced me into doing that. I definitely think I had a lot of people who, you know, maybe not racist, but were uncomfortable with things I was saying and were more comfortable when I was just talking about outfits. And so I kind of, shook that up a little
You
bit. But
did.
yeah, I think it was something important to do. And I think, beyond just speaking out, I try to keep my resources up there. I keep the highlights, I keep things up there so people can reference them. Because I think that's important too. Like you can post, oh, this one dress by a Black designer. But like if someone wants to go shop Black brands, will they know where to find them? So I keep all those highlights with all the Black brands, the Black doctors, the Black everything. So if you are ever like, oh my God, like where can I go to a Black esthetician? That's on my highlights.
I love that. Okay, Black Power Queen right here. So, who is someone in Black history who has inspired you and why?
Oh my gosh, it's so tough. I really, when I think about women, Black women that have inspired me, I think it's kind of the same thing we've been talking about, that confidence, that breaking barriers. And I think a lot of stars, like movie stars like Cicely Tyson, or,
Yes.
musicians like Diana Ross, women who were confident and bold and proud of their Blackness, and on and off screen were really able to make a difference, because that's what it is, right? If you're not in front of white people, then they're never even gonna know. Like you have to, if you have a platform, you have to use it.
Right.
And that's, my small scale, what I'm trying to do too. But I'm so inspired by women, who were on a large scale, when things were really tough in this country and letting their voices be heard.
Yes, 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 yes. And you're definitely a part of that list, girl, because Ayzia, you make moves and you use your voice the way it should. Speaking of curating and projects, are there any new projects or anything that you're looking forward to work on?
Yeah, so right now I'm working on some things for Black History Month. I'm working on some things for Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day, I can maybe give you a little sneak preview. So I want to feature diverse love stories because that's super important to me. As you know, we're both biracial women. We don't see those love stories that much. Seeing Black love, biracial, interracial love, LGBT love, representing those love stories that are not always represented. And I'm going to share some people that I know, some influencers, because I think it's really important to share those diverse love stories.
Yeah, it is. And that makes me really happy to hear because, like you said, I can relate, especially because my mom being black and my dad being Salvadorian. It's just so unique to hear those type of things. So I can't wait to see that project, Ayzia. And that just shows, again, guys, how creative she is. She inspires me so much when it comes down to being a step ahead, planning, and coming up with some really great pieces. What would you tell your younger self, Aze?
So I get this question a lot. I also ask it a lot on my blog. Um, and my answer is usually something like taking a step back and having fun. I think, I have always been type A. And I think, when I was younger, I was so worried about the next step. I was so worried about how am I getting into a good school? How am I getting a good career? How, all those next things that I didn't really live in the moment as much as I think I should have. Luckily I realized that by the time I turned 30, so I think I still have a lot of time. But if I could tell 18-year-old me, like, just relax. Like, it doesn't matter if your GPA is a 4.0 or a 3.0. Like, you're gonna pass, you're gonna get the job you want. It's really about being your authentic self and making those connections, which I did anyway, but I think I focused maybe too much on, like, the perfect grade or being in the right classes, things that, like, do not matter.
Right. Yeah. And I agree with you on that. I love that response because I think too often that in life, none of us just take a pause. And I think that this pandemic has made us all take a pause. And some people are perfectly okay with it, and some people are struggling with it. So my last question for you, Aze, is there anyone within the blogging field that you would want to share with the audience that you feel are a great voice within the Black community that people should also follow along with you?
Yeah. So first of all, there's so many. If you just go follow me and, like, look at who I'm following or who's interacting with me, there are so many. But especially having this conversation about biracial women who are really speaking up. One of my favorites is Sequin in Sales. Her name's Amanda. She's in Georgia. She's biracial. She speaks out all the time about things that are happening. And I think it's super important to hear, not only Black voices, but biracial voices in this space too, because, we are Black, but we have a slightly different perspective, right? So hearing her voice always inspires me. And she's really good friends with Ayana Gabrielle Gage or Lage. She is just so powerful and she's always speaking out, and she's also in an interracial relationship. So more of that diverse love stories and really hearing from different perspectives. And then in terms of fashion, I love Glamazon Diaries. Her name's Makita. She is so fabulous. I also love High Low Lux. But there's really so many fabulous Black women really doing their thing. Just hashtag Black creatives, Black girl bloggers. there's so many of us, which is really, really inspiring.
Yes, thank you so much, Ayzia. You are such a beautiful woman and a great friend, and I thank you for being a part of the hot seat. You have such a great story. You are so inspiring to me, and I hope that the audience and the viewers really soak you up. And you guys make sure you follow Ayzia. I'm going to tag everything below. And yeah, thank you for watching the hot seat.